Hello? 10th, 2020, City of Blue Island City Council, 7:02 p.m. Start with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very well. Roll call.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Fairwell. Alderman Rita.
Here.
Alderman Montoya.
Here.
Alderman McGee. Alderman Carr.
Alderman Carr, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can, yeah.
Alderman Roll.
Here. All right, forum. Before we have presentation of general proceedings, we have a motion to approve the city council minutes from April 26, 2022, the regular city council meeting. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Montoya on the question. Now, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. Public comment? Public comment? None. Moving on to mayor's report. Need a motion for approval for payroll April 29, 2022 for the amount of $384,110.36. Is there a motion? Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Johnson on the question. Now, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. Next, we have a motion for approval of accounts payable. $438,467.19. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, seconded by Alderman Rita on the question. Now, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. Need a motion to consent to mayoral appointment to the Civil Service Commission. There's a vacancy on the board, and Gregory Robinson has volunteered. You know, Gregory Robinson has been a resident for about 20-some years, and I think a former Marine. I hope I'm saying the right branch of service. And he has volunteered to serve on a committee role. And when I asked him about the civil service, he was very interested. So I made a motion to motion made and seconded for consenting Gregory Robinson to fill the vacancy on the civil service. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Montoya, second by Alderman Roll on the question. Now, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, we have the library board. We have 3 terms of service up. 2 are reappointments. 1 is a vacancy. I need the motion to approve Mariela Esparza to fill the vacancy, Sarah Nunez and Anita Kinney for reappointments. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Johnson, seconded by Alderman Montoya on the question. Now, clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, we have a motion to award the altitude valve replacement project at the Highland Avenue Potable Water Pump Station to Genco Industries in the amount of $44,840. I believe this is maintenance. I'm sure if there's any questions staff can answer. Is there a motion?
It's a question.
Let's do the motion in second, and then we'll do the question.
Sure.
Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Johnson on the question.
Question. Do these Genco industries do they have experience in doing this? And did we see any of their work?
I know there's 3 bidders, and they were the lowest qualified bidder by Burke Engineering. But after that, I think the administration would have to answer questions. Burke handled the bid.
believe we actually only received 2 bids for this project. One was for Genco and the other one was a name very similar to it. Genco's out of Crestwood, Illinois. They were the lowest bidder by about $10,000. They are a qualified bidder by Dirk Engineering. They've worked with Dirk Engineering.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Next, we have an ordinance, the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, amending the ordinance 2014-007, the city of Blue Island water and sewer rate ordinance. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Montoya. On the question, Alderman Roll.
Yeah, this question is for the city's attorney. The ordinance that we are amending in section 26, subsection A, that names the creation of the sewer maintenance fund. Is it correct then that the sewer fee that we charge, all proceeds go into that fund by default? Can money be removed from that fund for any other purpose? So, for example, say we meet our sort of obligation for what we've appropriated to date. Could money then be transferred out to pay for something else like salaries?
I'm gonna defer that question to Mr. Kukowski.
Okay.
I do believe it's an enterprise fund, and it's meant only for sewer improvements, et cetera, but I will confirm that.
This would be within the water fund itself.
Correct.
Yeah, so could it be removed from this sort of special sewer maintenance fund?
So the way that the ordinance, the way that fund is, it's a water / sewer fund, so it's all one fund.
Mhm.
We do, when we receive our monthly water bill payments, we do separate that money out into a separate line item on the general ledger.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily a separate fund.
Okay. So then we could technically take additional revenues that we might generate from raising the fee and use them conceivably to pay for things other than strictly sewer maintenance.
Within the water fund, yes.
Okay,
Has to be water fund related. Yes.
thank you.
Any other questions? Not clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Rita.
You're asking me to raise taxes after coming out of a pandemic. I said this at the committee of the whole, and I will say it again. I'm not comfortable with this. I don't think the seniors' taxes should be raised. They live on fixed income. All the residents now are being impacted by the rising costs of utilities, groceries, and gas prices. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for infrastructure and fixing our sewers and streets, absolutely. But I don't think that I should look to the hardworking people of the third ward, and that is who I represent. I think that we should be looking at alternative revenues. And for that reason, I'm voting no.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
What was the
Sorry.
Sewer rate.
sewer rate?
No.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
4 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. The mayor's comments. So this one, I'm gonna send back to Jim, who's out of town right now, and well-deserved small break, even though he's been on the phone with me all day long. After a mostly cold and wet spring, almost 40-some days of nonstop rain, warm weather is finally here, and that means the city can get to patching potholes, infrastructure, code enforcement, you name it, anything to do with outside. Yesterday myself, I probably gotten 20 phone calls minimal of everybody walking outside, taking walks for the first time in probably weeks. And so-and-so's grass needs to be cut, so-and-so's yard is a mess. We have this big pothole on 123rd or so on. And I know Public Works starting next week is going to do a priority of patching, hot patch, as plants are finally open, because you need to have a consistent 60 degrees above to patch with hot patch instead of cold patch. So let's start with priorities like the water breaks first. So if they had a water break over the winter, which there's a half dozen or more major holes in the street, I know one's on Maple, one's on Collins, they'll do those areas first. Those will be the first priority, and the patching on the streets and the alleys is the third, but they're going to start next week doing all that as long as the weather holds, which looks like it's going to. The roof repair project at City Hall and the fire department is underway. We've been dealing without air conditioning at City Hall these last couple of days because we can't use too much power because we need to have our first responders make sure they have power enough off the generator when they turn it down for the roof project, since the ComEd lines run right above it, and for safety they turn off while they're working on it. So it's well underway. It should be done very shortly. Hopefully, again, the weather holds out, and we can start doing some of that much needed deferred maintenance. And as far as the accounts can tell me, the roof hasn't done at least 40 years. And finally, today marks the 1-year official anniversary of our swearing in. We swore in last year on May 10th. And the weather we have today is on the other end of the spectrum. It was kind of cold and chilly last year, and it's 90-some degrees this year. And I want to take a moment to thank each member of the council, as well as our clerk, our treasurer, and our city staff. We have new faces and those that have been here. We've worked together and we've taken some big step forward this year. And while we all know there's a lot of work to do in the future, I believe we've laid the groundwork to make real progress into it. So I want to thank everybody for that. That's all I have for mayor's comments. City clerk.
I put in front of you, you have a paper from the council of Montessori School, I believe it's called. They're doing a climbing demonstration tomorrow and a rain out on May 12th from 9 to 1. I'm not quite sure. They plan on walking from the school to Metro South and with signs about the climate. So they're going to be doing that tomorrow. Up in Ruben Church is having a family bingo night, May 20th at 7 o'clock, church basement. The flower sale on North and Western is at 8:30 Saturday morning and next Saturday morning. May 24th is the next council meeting at 6 o'clock. Chief Haywood invites everyone to the blessing of the new fire truck. That's prior to the meeting at 7. July 3rd is the firework fest. We're moving along. If there's any craft vendors out there that would like to participate, please contact clerk's office. Other than that, that's all I have.
The treasurer's report attached to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Motion by Alderman McGee, second by Alderman Roll on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll. Alderman Roll.
Alderman Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Rita,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye. Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Is there any attorney report?
No.
City administrators report. I know we have some good information on this partially for insurance. This is a step forward.
Evening, Tom Wilson, City Administrator. A couple of just quick items on things coming up. I got to add this to the clerk's report since she usually reports on goings on in the city. May 20th, 21st, the American Legion is doing their Poppy Day, so it'll be in the streets, on the corners, etc. We just recently gave approval for that. That's May 20th, 21st. You'll see the American Legion and the veterans out there. With the weather, we're getting some more filming requests in, and we actually just have a little bit of request with the aldermen. So sometimes you all have the eyes and ears in the community. If you see filming going down in your ward, let us know, because we're finding some ones that haven't checked in with City Hall, haven't filled out permits or paid their fees or etc. The larger, more established ones that need police tend to have to come to us, but there are other operations that we've noticed around town of camera crews, etc., where we don't know, and we went through the trouble of doing the film ordinance, so we want to enforce it like we do any other. So like I said, a lot of you are out in your communities, in your wards. If you see filming, don't take it for granted that they've done. You don't have to, get engaged with them necessarily per se, but let's let us know where you're seeing filming so we can be sure that we've got everybody out their paper. Brief update on liability insurance, and I'll give Alderman Farrell an update over email as well. I know it's a topic you're interested in, but we have met with 2 brokers now, including one we think is going to be probably our best bet to get insurance. We did go through, and you saw this on the last agenda, we did go through an effort to try to find standalone insurance for the golf course. It's dead. Just ensuring that entity as a standalone entity isn't profitable enough, quite frankly, for any company to necessarily do it. It's not a big enough, entity for any company to kind of step out for. So the advice that we're getting is that we need to put this out to market as a complete entity. All of our city police, public works, fire department, our city hall staffs, etc., all of our equipment, and that as a total package, it will hopefully become attractive enough that we can get full coverage. We believe we're going to be able to get to something that's going to be able to get the most coverage that we can. So we're not going to be pursuing standalone policies any longer. We're going to try to solve all of this in a comprehensive liability insurance policy. We are going to have some work to do as a staff, and we're going to actually kind of recruit some aldermen in this process as well. We're going to have to sell this a little bit. We're going to have to put kind of our best face forward on it because we've never had a full liability package. It's like getting your first credit card in a way, like they're a little nervous to engage with you. And we're a city with a lot of older infrastructure, and they're a fleet that we're trying to update. So, and then on top of the fact that police departments, ambulance systems like that are just expensive to insure anyway. So as we work towards that, and as we meet with these individual carriers and try to get ourselves the best possible deal, one of the things they're going to want to see is the stability of the local government, right? And so I think we can actually put forward a pretty good face on that based on how this past year has gone. But we're going to also be asking some representatives of the city council to join in those meetings and talk with the brokers and just give us, because we can tell them from the mayor's office, we can tell them from the administrative team, but the totality of the corporate authority of the government is this council as well, right? So they'll want to hear and have some confidence in that we're functioning well and that we're going to be a good partner to work with. Since, like I said, we are brand new to this market, so there's a lot of uncertainties around this. So that's kind of my update on where we're at with insurance. I'm just going to keep updating the council and with each step in this process. It's going to be a lengthy process. It's going to take us most of the year, it sounds like, but we're going to, it's been several decades coming, so we're going to, take the time to get it as right as we can. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions for me.
Any questions? Alderman?
Will in regards to the insurance, will it affect the golf course this season? Because we're already into the golf season.
The schedule is based on what's kind of being presented in front of me to the brokers, would suggest that we're probably going to have to go through this season with the same sort of liability hold that we have right now. So I think we're going to have to operate in 2022 as we did in 2021, 2020. I think the hope would be to set a stage for 2023.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
Any other questions? Not. Now, aldermanic announcements, reports, or comments?
Mayor, would it be better for us to walk our wards ourselves or something, as far as like potholes, because they might be getting reports from different, we might be getting different reports from different citizens about different potholes and things, and just compile this to help them out?
I think that would never help. That only helps. That would never not help.
Okay.
Yeah, that only helps in case.
Sound like me.
Yeah. No, I think that would help, and he's probably gonna get a lot of them anyway, because they've been getting nonstop calls. I talked to him yesterday. His curse is like mine. He answers the phone constantly even when he's out of town, and it's been nonstop since yesterday. And they're doing the best they can. They had a big water break off 138 today. All day long they were down there in your ward. I think it's solid for right now, but he's starting straight on Monday. The first priority is potholes.
Okay. And I just got a few announcements. Pastor Bird is actually having an event down at the Blue Island Recreation, John D. Reader Recreation Center from 12 to 3 Saturday. He actually got about $10,000 worth of brand new appliances for the home, and it's open to definitely everybody in Blue Island, but anybody who needs it. That's from 12 to 3 Saturday. Another thing I wanted to see if we could look into some kind of social media page or an app to advertise the events at the recreation center, because the word is just not getting out of what's going on down there, the things that we do have. The park district do a pretty good job because they pass out pamphlet from door to door, but as a whole, we don't do it as an entity for the Blue Island Recreation Center. Maybe an app where the kids could come there and just put it in their phone and look at the whole.
The banners up or no? Like, don't put the banners down there for the hometown heroes and something else,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just asking. So
But
we get one made for 127, and then sometimes we put them other places, does you think that helps or no?
I think more or less because the kids are more social, you know what I'm saying, and to get the word out to the rest of the city of Blue Island, because it's not just for that ward, it's for the whole city. And so it's different things that's happening down there a lot that's different, thanks to Alderman Montoya and some of his people. But overall, it's not getting out to the people that there is an event of whatever nature, whether it's just open gym. Yeah. And then school's gonna be letting out so the kids will be, out of school, so, Okay, and I just want to let my constituents know in the first ward, that's between 139th and 141st place in California. I spoke with the mayor opposing, and they're they removed a bunch of trees and shrubbery and things, and the residents was kind of wondering what's going on. But they're actually putting a trucking company, a repair company there, but they will be exiting and entering off Harrison. So the back of the company will be actually facing California. They won't be used. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Reed?
In regards to what you were saying, Alderman,
Mhm.
do you mean, well, of course, in addition to getting the word out, but are you talking about like when the kids come there, having something like a QR code, they scan their phone
Or
with,
an
and then
app or
it pops up on their phone and they know what's going on with the calendar?
Yep. Exactly.
Something like that?
Yes, something that, I'm trying to go the most inexpensive way, but something that also to build a brand per se. And just for the people who are not like, let's say, computer savvy, we have to, probably go the old fashioned way or whatever, but basically, school is about to let out. I'm trying to be more proactive than reactive. So if we can get this kind of started, and if you guys got any ideas or whatever, to help us out, or.
Now, there's a QR code, if you add a QR code, you update the website, say monthly, but would it be the same QR code? Or is it
Yes.
different one?
I think so.
'Cause it
I can
redirects you
find
to the
out.
website, right?
I know they do, well, it's not in regards to getting an announcement out. But as in how we use QR codes for different, like, for instance, detention. The kids come in, they scan, and then it comes up on their phone.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be the same.
Kind of what we answered, maybe a banner with a QR code on there where kids can just like scan their phone and they'll know like, hey, this is, go direct them to that page
Like
on
we
their
usually,
website and.
so when they sign in, and they come into the rec center, sign in,
Oh, that-
you have the paper taped right there, and they would use their phone and just kind of scan it over the phone. Probably.
What about also
Calendar.
submitting it to Chicago Southland? They ask for a list of events that are going on. But that's the old more old fashioned paper way that,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, any way we can, Alderman, you know what I mean? To help, because nothing is getting out right now, to be honest with you. And a lot of the people in the community, they ask me, I'm asking them to at least tape it on the window, to schedule them and kids. But I'm just saying, school is getting ready to let out. You're gonna have, the junior highs and grade school, then you're gonna have a high school. And then you got people who help pay the taxes, right? But they want something to do as well.
Anything else? Now we need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Rita, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Alderman Rhodes kind of slow raising his hand, like he